want is to speak to your boss. Fuck this place!
I don't think it's the most romantic hotel in Hawaii, do you? It's perfectly fine, but are you finding it very romantic?
It's okay.
It's nice.
Greetings, whoever this may concern. Christian Aguilar here, back with another series review, and in today's series review I am going to be reviewing what I thought was a TV miniseries, however it just got renewed for a second season, I heard, The White Lotus. Now, like I mentioned, The White Lotus was advertised as a miniseries on HBO, just going to be 6 episodes, 6 parts, and then it was going to be over with. However, due to success that it had while airing, I read somewhere that it just got renewed for a second season. I could be wrong on that, however, that was one of the reasons why I held off reviewing each episode each week. I started watching it as it aired, and I realized that maybe I should wait for the whole season to finish and wrap up for me to properly review it, because I was under the impression that it was just one season. In reading somewhere, I think I looked up if there was going to be a second season, I heard that they were thinking about renewing it, and that HBO actually did renew it for a second season. That's going to follow a whole different set of characters, which means we're going to get a whole new story and a whole new setting, maybe, because I think they said they're going to move to a different resort. But anyway, I wanted to review season 1 as a whole. The last episode, episode 6, just aired this past Sunday, so I thought what a better time than now to record and review this series. So The White Lotus season 1 stars Steve Zahn, Connie Britton, Jake Lacey, Jennifer Coolidge, Sydney Sweeney, Alexandra Daddario, and Murray Bartlett, who plays the manager of the White Lotus Resort. Now, this series is about a group of wealthy people going to a Hawaiian resort named the White Lotus as they try to get away from everyday problems and drama. However, when they arrive at the resort, they realize that they can't outrun their problems, and that their problems actually come to a boil during their entire stay at the White Lotus. And it's really cool to see these different relationships between characters, these different dynamics, and also these different stories that are being told. We have, like, I think 10 main characters to follow. That's a lot of perspectives to jump, and I'm glad that in an episodic format that they decided to tell a narrative like that with multiple perspectives. You have the time and you have the space to let these characters breathe and really tell the story that they need to tell. I felt that some of the stories were they all start off pretty well. Like, they give you a good hook for each and every one of them. There's certain relationships you want to figure out, like with the two girls, for example, the daughter of Steve Zahn and Connie Britton's character, played by Sydney Sweeney, who's from Euphoria. She plays Cassie in season 1 of Euphoria, and her character, along with her best friend, they have this weird relationship with each other that's not really fully described until, like, I think episode 4. So from the beginning to episode 4, you're always wondering, what is their type of relationship? What kind of relationship do they have? And why is there such this weird tension between them? You know, I love how the series keeps you guessing until they are ready to reveal things to you, and I think it's a great payoff if you stick through it till the end. I don't want to give too much away in terms of spoilers, because I went into it really blind. You know, honestly, it's a new show, so I didn't know anything about it going into it. Just that they have some familiar faces that I recognize. Oh, and also the writer and director, Mike White, is you probably recognize him from School of Rock. He was actually Mr. Sneebly that Jack Black was trying to impersonate. You know, he was his roommate. So I find it hilarious that dude decided to come out with this show, and he's showing us not only his directing chops but his writing chops as well, because he pens the entire season. So I really enjoyed this first season, because it has a style of comedy that I'm not really used to. It's kind of like a black comedy, dark comedy for sure. This style of humor is like just very sarcastic, because it's putting these characters in certain awkward situations with each other that are kind of like forcing them to reveal dark secrets about themselves. But it's kind of hilarious to see them in these situations, because they idiotically get themselves into it, or they're somehow, some way put into these situations by fate or by destiny, right? It's just like awkward coincidences that come together and put them in these situations, and it's really cool to see these characters try to tackle not only the people around them, but themselves as well. A lot of self-reflection and realizations come out as the season progresses for these characters, and I think it's pretty entertaining to see. This isn't a show where it's like a murder mystery. Granted, the show does open up with one of the characters, Jake Lacey. He's married to Alexandra Daddario's character in this season, and they have their whole little relationship arc that they go on. And it starts off with Jake Lacey in the airport looking out onto the runway where the plane is at, right? And they're loading up all the luggage and stuff, and you see a body shaped box, assuming that someone passed away or someone died, and is being shipped into the plane that he's being taken off into. So he's going home with a dead body. Who's that dead body? That's the type of question that the series opens up with, and then it goes back and shows you what happened on the resort, you know. So just because it opens up with like someone going home with a dead body, it doesn't take that whodunit murder mystery route. Granted, I forgot that there was a dead body in the first episode halfway through this season because all the narratives that were being told were so intriguing to me, you know. One last thing, I really love how they take all these different perspectives and they really tackle like gender roles and relationships, race, when it comes to like the white Europeans coming over and taking over America from their native people. That's what created this luxurious place we call home, you know. And this series surprisingly tackles that almost like midway into the season, along with the economic status that we all go through when living in today's capitalistic society. It's so crazy and so hilarious to see how they lay out and present to you all these perspectives and how they tackle all these topics in several episodes. And it's pretty cool to listen and hear these characters go back and forth on. Some of them have a very naive perspective, and others have what they feel like is a very open and understanding perspective. And it's just so hilarious to see these actors play in this playground with these types of characters. One last thing, I really love the cinematography in this series. A lot of beautiful shots. Of course, when you're shooting in Hawaii or on any type of tropical resort, it's very, very photogenic, so I don't see why there wouldn't be any beautiful shots in here. But there's a handful of really beautiful shots in this series, and I think if you're watching it on a 4K TV, 4K monitor, and at the highest resolution possible, I think it'll be very eye-pleasing, very, very eye-pleasing. Especially the deep sea scuba diving that the father and son, Steve Zahn and his son in the series, they go on like a scuba diving adventure, I think towards the end of the season, and that looks really, really awesome. You know, all the underwater footage. So yeah, with that being said, I really enjoyed The White Lotus. There were some moments that I felt, I don't know, maybe because this is more of my expectations, I thought that maybe this was going to lead to, like, certain situations were going to lead to, like, a bigger blowout, like a bigger explosion, and I thought certain things were going to be like, oh, maybe this is going to happen, that's going to happen. So when the show went a certain route, I'm like, okay, I can understand why they went that way, but maybe it was just my expectations that got me too hyped to assume that, oh, maybe something big was going to happen when something really didn't happen. But that's more of like a personal critique, you know, because if you don't have those same expectations and you're just on the ride to see where the show takes you, I think you'll have a good time. And again, it's really funny, you know, it's really funny as well as being dramatic, because these are some very particular situations that these characters find themselves in. I am probably going to give this series a solid 4 out of 5 Skarsgårds. Yes, a 4 out of 5. It is not perfect. Now, it is not perfect because although it did have its own atmosphere and its own tone, and it knew what it was, it's like this whole series had a personality of its own, that really satire take on the luxurious life. You know, if you're rich and you got a lot of money, you think it's a luxurious life, but there's a whole satire to it, and this is what this show's presenting to you. Oh, and if I didn't mention it before, this is on HBO Max, HBO On Demand, wherever you got HBO, this show's available to you. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for reaching to the end of this video. Please like, share, subscribe to support this little side hobby I am doing. And also let me know down below if you have or have not seen The White Lotus. If you're interested or if you liked it or disliked it, let me know down below. And of course, I want to remind you all that I do co-host a show called The Rendered Image over on my friend Tyler's channel, links to which will be in the description below. And we also started a podcast. It's the same show, but it's an audio version for podcast listeners. So if you want to check out the podcast, both on Spotify and Apple Podcast, both links are down below as well. So with that being said, I hope you're all safe and well out there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.